Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to the program. It is the Michael Dukes Show, the brand new holiday. I mean, this whole thing is it's a whole new year. A whole new year, whole new time. It's you and me, and we are ready to go. I hope you're ready to go. I hope you enjoyed yourself over the holiday season. I'll give you a rundown when we get to it here in just a few minutes on my holiday excitement and enjoyment, and we hope that you guys as well enjoyed a little bit of downtime. And got the true reason and meaning of the season out for all of you as well. Coming up on the program today, we're going to get caught up on some of the bigger stories that have happened here. Not a whole lot. I mean, I've been I was watching, I was monitoring, I was doing all the things that I was supposed to do over the holidays. I mean, mostly, right? But not a whole lot happening over the holiday season. It got real quiet there for a little bit, and that's okay. That is okay by me. So here we are getting ready to roll and getting ready to get into it. We've had a few things here starting to crack out. We are officially 15 days away now from the start of the legislative session, which is going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting time this year. The posturing has already started, which we're going to get into here in just a little bit. But you could see it happening already. The posturing is set up, and people are already breaking out the checkbook. And the pen getting ready to cash out and give some folks everything that they've wanted and then some. That's kind of what it looks like right now. So we're gonna get into that here today, and we're gonna be talking about that and a lot of other stuff that's been going on. So Sessions, we'll talk a little bit about the national races as well for the big offices like U.S. House and U.S. Senate, and we'll take a look at we're going to take a little bit of a look at Fairbanks today with some of the things that are going on up there. I mean, I have some questions. I have some questions about Fairbanks, about what's going on in my former hometown, because as of right now, I don't know what's going on up there, but I got to. It's going to be an interesting discussion for sure. All right. So what's coming up on this week? We're hoping tomorrow we should be talking with Brad Keithley from Alaskans for Sustainable Budgets. Fingers crossed. He may not be able to make it tomorrow. We will. We'll know more later, hopefully later today, and hopefully no later than later today. But we will be joined by Chris Story, who will come in and be part of it at the end of the show tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we're going to be talking with some folks down here in the Southern Peninsula about the Homer's Farmers Market. We're going to talk about that early on in hour 2. And then I'm hoping that we're going to be starting to get a chance to run through some of the discussions with some of the legislators who are getting ready to, they're getting ginned up now. They're getting ready to jump into it at the legislative level. So I'm hoping that we will be able to get some legislators involved, and we'll get a chance to talk about that. That's what we're working on right now for this week. Nothing else kind of lined up. Overall, I would say that the holiday season and the time off was. I'm going to give it a B out of a A minus. Well, B plus maybe. How about a B plus? I'll give it a B plus. I had a whole list of honeydew items that I was going to do over the holiday season, and I did almost none of it. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I just did not. Every day I got up and thought, I really need to start working on some of this stuff, and it didn't pan out. It just didn't pan out. I got a couple things done. I got a couple, but I mean, for the most part, I did a whole lot of nothing. I still had a little work to do every day for the stations and stuff, but other than that, I just thought, this was a time to just kind of hang out and relax, and I did a whole lot of that with the family. Had a great holiday season. We had a chance to surprise my wife. My son was had not expected to be able to be off for Christmas, and then unexpectedly, right after Thanksgiving, he discovered that he was going to be available. And so he came down on Christmas Eve day, the day of Christmas Eve, and showed up in the kitchen out of the blue. And that was probably one of the most heartwarming things that I have seen in quite a while. And it was great to be able to have my son down here for the holidays. And it was just, just great. We had so much fun over the holiday season, ate a lot of food, had a delicious ham. My wife baked pies. We had Christmas cookies. We had some new breakfast. We had some new holiday traditions in the morning with a new it was a breakfast casserole that my wife had gotten from a friend, some kind of recipe, and it was delicious, and didn't require me to make. I love Christmas crepes, don't get me wrong, but that's a lot of work on Christmas morning, and so she just popped that thing in the oven, and the next thing we know, we had delicious casserole all over the place. It was good. And then some extra special stuff too. I was able to I made grandma's pumpkin or bread pudding recipe, which was fantastic. I hadn't had that in probably 5 or 6 years, and that was delicious as well. And then, like I said, then I did a whole lot of nothing. I worked. I had things to do here for the, you know what I mean, though. But I didn't go out of my way to complete the honeydew list or anything else. So Richie said, self-care is critical. The project list will be there. Yeah, it wasn't like it was anything that, we're still here, right? We're still here. And I guess I'll just start working on it later this week or this weekend. And we'll get started on that there as well. The cold and the snow and the wind, man, it's crazy the amount of wind. So this is the fourth this is the fourth windstorm. They just had the fourth windstorm in the Matsu, and it's been crazy. It's been 40 and 50 below in Fairbanks, which, again, you guys can keep all that stuff. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't need any of that stuff down here. It was, I think it got a little bit colder yesterday, but right now we're hovering at about 9 degrees down here on top of the world in Homer, and we got about 3 inches of snow last night, so not too bad. Meanwhile, the rest of the state is definitely feeling it. Supposed to warm up just a bit, and we'll see what that looks like here over the next week. But yeah, that was it, man. It was a great vacation. I got voted down. I'll tell you, this is crazy. I got voted down over the holidays. We watched a bunch of different Christmas movies, and I tried to watch It's a Wonderful Life, and all the girls ganged up against me and said no, because it was too sad and it makes them cry, and you just can't do it. And so I got about a third of the way into It's a Wonderful Life, and then they were just like, we can't take this right. Anyway, it's one of those things. So I don't know if I might have to watch that on my own sometime, just without everybody else there. Enjoy it myself. I'll have to have my own little tear jerker fest on that as well. All right. So I'm just kind of getting warmed up. I'm back in the chair. It feels a little weird. I took all the decorations out of for those of you who are on the radio, I had the studio decorated for Christmas with lights and garland and stuff. And it feels a little weird and empty. You know what it's like after you take the Christmas decorations down. And so I'm just getting back into the groove, getting back into the swing of things here, and figuring out where we're going to be going today. We've got a lot of things to talk about. And we may potentially even open up the phone lines here on the other side. We'll see. We'll see how chatty I get here as we keep going on. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think that brings us about to where we need to be. So we're going to continue here in just a moment. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We'll return with more in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Back in just a bit. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes On Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. I forgot to push the button. I forgot to push the button. All right. I'm still getting used to it, guys. I've been on vacation. I'm trying to remember how to do all this stuff after not doing it for 2.5 weeks. And oh, come on. Sorry, something's really, really slow right now. Something is really slow. There we go. Okay. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right. I think we got it. How you guys doing? You guys, how was your Christmas? How was everything going on? Brian said we binged. We watched Candy Cane Lane with Eddie Murphy. Surprisingly good. Lots of laughs. Anthony said, I can tell you I've used range day amounts of CO2 cartridges dealing with getting fuel oil the last week. Fairbanks Heating is struggling with this stress test. I can imagine. Again, I can imagine. I'm so glad that we didn't. That I'm just so glad I don't have to deal with that anymore. I can't. I'm so glad. Rick said he watched Candy Cane Lane as well. I did not watch that. What did we watch? What was the latest thing we watched? We watched. We watched Red One. That was the rewatch because we'd seen that last year, but when Tim was here, we decided to get cracking on it and we watched it again. It's just a good fun flick for sure. Lisa said she played video games with her boys at the house. That's always fun. Procrastination has killed more men than whiskey. Don't judge me, man. Don't judge me. Jeffrey said warmed up from 50 below to a balmy 20 below. It's global warming. I saw that Donna made a comment. She said, I'd like to hear from Brad the potential effects on Alaska from the Venezuela regime change. That's a good question. That's going to be an interesting thing to watch, to see how that all goes down. I mean, I'm still trying to, I don't know. I just feel like I just want to stay completely out of the national. I mean, I could see how that impinges on Alaska as an international political thing, but at this point, I'm just shaking my head like I'm a little disappointed in everybody at this point. Little disappointed in everybody. Great haircut. This is the same haircut I had before I left. You guys are freaking out because I'm not wearing my headphones because I got new studio monitors that I'm still haven't decided whether or not that I like them or not. I'm still trying to decide whether it's different. Let's just put it's just different. Let's put it that way. All right. Yep, they got the open house in January for the Nikolaevsk School. Brew Cold and Northway. Blow down tool. You insert a CO2 cartridge into that so you can attach to the fuel lines and blow obstructions out back into the tank. Oh, so it's a way to clear the line. Got it. All right. Look at that. Okay, guys. Well, we're a little rough this morning, but we're going to get into this stuff and start getting down to it. 39 below in North Pole this morning, says Tim. Again, I'm just so happy that I don't have to deal with all that stuff. You guys. I mean, I definitely love my life the way it is, without the 39, 40, 50, 60 below, that's just good enough for me. All right. 15 seconds out. Let's get back to it. Here we go. Good morning, Dad. Sorry, I saw my dad in there earlier. I meant to say hi to him as well. Let's get to it. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
Okay, my friends, welcome back to the program. It is the Michael Duke Show. And it's the first day of the new year for us here. January 5th. And we are ready to crack into it and get things ready to rock and roll. What are we expecting in the coming year? Well, more of the same. More of the same. We're already seeing some of the discussions and some of the, I guess I would call it posturing from around the state. There was a new opinion piece in the Anchorage Daily News that came out here a couple of days ago. And I just had to chuckle when I saw who the authors, first of all, the headline and then seeing who the authors were. And I was just like, okay, well, we know where this is going. The headline of the opinion piece reads, "Fiscal plans are built one piece at a time." That's the fiscal plans are built one piece at a time. And it's written by Loki Tobin, Bill Wilikowski, and Carl Jacobs, who's the president of the Anchorage School Board. Can you get a flavor of where this is going to go here in the next few minutes? I mean, can you already feel where this is going? So they start this, and the subject of this whole thing ostensibly is about Senate Bill 113, which was the bill that Governor Dunleavy vetoed. It was the tax bill that Governor Dunleavy vetoed. But what really kills me is that you've got Loki Tobin and Bill Wilikowski, who are all about making sure that we retain as much money, that they retain as much money out of the permanent fund as they can to spend on the projects that they want to spend on, including education, et cetera, which is another reason why Carl Jacobs is in there. But they start off by saying, we agree that it's past time for Alaska to adopt a comprehensive fiscal plan. Too many politicians use this phrase as a convenient excuse to avoid making incremental steps toward fiscal security. To be certain, there are difficult decisions ahead, but never should we allow perfection to become the enemy of good. Instead, state leaders must march one step at a time down the road toward economic opportunity and growth. I mean, this sounds so good, doesn't it? I mean, it's because people have wanted a holistic approach to everything, and because they're all, that's why we don't have a fiscal plan. Not because every opportunity and every attempt to get a comprehensive fiscal plan has been shot down by the government is great, bigger, big government, the better than the business as usual crowd. Not for those reasons, of course. It's only because they're trying to be, nobody wants to take the incremental. The problem with the incremental step approach, which, again, I hate to be a broken record this early into the brand new year, but the problem with the incremental approach is, just like the Fiscal Policy Working Group pointed out, is that you do one piece at a time and then you promise, well, we'll do this other piece later, and you never get to the later. And by doing just this one piece, you affect one part of the economy and never get to the other part of it. It's never fixes the thing. It creates more problems because, again, of the unintended consequences of these actions. Then they go on to bash again on the administration. We know you are tired of the rhetoric and inaction of this administration, and so are we. And they go on to talk about how Senate Bill 113, which did pass 42-18. All right. I mean, that's a landslide, I guess, if you look at it from that perspective. 42-18. And they go on to tout how this is a great bill and that it would draw more money and fix the corporate tax structure. And then, of course, they talk about how how they had the little widget attached to it that it would also go to fund education, that some of that SB 113 money was going to go to education. Not through this is where things get funky. Not through dedication, like right, because they can't have dedicated or designated. I can never remember. It's either designated or dedicated funds. The Constitution prohibits one of those, and so they use the other word, although it has the same effect, right? You're not supposed to have dedicated funds. But they're saying, oh, and so what do? They pass a bill and say, if we pass this bill, then it will be funded by this other bill contingent on whether or not you vote for this other bill. Right? They tie everything up in knots, which is, this has been going on for the last few years in the legislature, where they have this contingency language in all these different bills, where if you vote for this, we'll vote for it to be yes, but only if you vote yes on something else will we then fund it or allow it to take place. I mean, that was the whole Bert Stedman when he wanted to take the monies away from the highway rebuild, the road rebuild for Knick Goose Bay Road in Wasilla, which is one of the most dangerous roads in the state, and he wanted to hold that hostage through contingency language, even though it had been on the docket for years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, at some point, you just got to be like, can we just have a clean vote on some of these things? Anyway, the bill goes on to, or the opinion piece goes on to talk about how, if we only had SB 113, we could get more funding for reading proficiency programs and careers and technical education, priorities long supported by legislators across the political spectrum. Again, these are all different policies and things like that, things that these guys didn't want to talk about when we were having the educational debate in the last session, where we wanted to talk about things like reading proficiencies and policy changes in regards to, technical schools, AvTech, and I've forgotten the acronym for all the technical, the CTA and stuff. Anyway, they didn't want to talk about it then, but now, oh man, those have all been long supported by legislators. And if SB 113 becomes laws, public schools and homeschooling families utilizing public education would share an estimated $21 million in reading proficiency incentive grants. Like, they really care about the homeschooling families who are on allotments and other things, and, all that kind of stuff. And VOTEC, and they'd free up $10 million in VOTEC funds and all this other stuff. So it goes on. Now, this all comes out, again, by the fact that the governor has vetoed SB 113. And the legislature is going to have 5 days on the 20th of January. They're going to have 5 days to meet in a joint session to attempt to override the governor. And I assume that they're going to. I mean, it's a pretty significant, the vote on that to pass that bill was, again, 42-18. That's a pretty significant, it's a pretty significant vote at that point. I don't really recall what the governor's reasoning was for vetoing it, other than, okay, I mean, to me, it seemed like it was, again, just part of their, it's like they're trying to place a little Hello Kitty Band-Aid on a spurting femoral artery wound, right? It's like they're trying to do a little bit. And I know people say, well, again, incrementalism. Until we acknowledge that we're bleeding out, your little tiny Band-Aid is not going to do much. Right? I mean, I guess I'm a little rusty. Sorry, I've been on vacation. I'm a little rusty on my analogies, but that's the best one that comes to mind right now. Is that, I mean, you're trying to triage this, and instead of acknowledging that we have a major hemorrhage here and we're going to bleed out, your answer is to triage it by putting a Hello Kitty Band-Aid on it, even though it's just, I mean, that's the answer. And again, Wielechowski, Loki Tobin, and all the friends in their crowd, Republicans and Democrats, have all been standing up against a comprehensive fiscal plan that says we can't spend as much as you want to. I mean, Ben Carpenter, right? That was his whole shtick. His whole shtick was he was trying to put together a series of bills that were a comprehensive fiscal plan, and he couldn't get the traction, couldn't get it done. But don't worry. This will be one step, a practical step towards a stronger, opportunity-rich Alaska for our youngest residents, for the children. Supporting SB 113 is a practical step towards a stronger, opportunity-rich Alaska for our youngest residents. It's literally for the children, right? But you can already see, this is going to be the posturing. This is what you're going to be looking at over the next course of this next session. These kind of plans. And again, it was like the senators and their handler, Carl Jacobs, was part of this. There's a triumvirate that wrote this, a trio that wrote this. And again, it was Loki Tobin, Bill Wilikowski, and Carl Jacobs, who's the president of the Anchorage School Board. He's like, I'm here to supervise. Just you guys write what I tell you. I just feel like there's fingers and puppetry going on here. But that's what it's all about, right? We just need more. That's what we're dealing with, is more money. More. So anyway, that was the first thing that caught my eye over the weekend as I started to gear up for the show, was this opinion piece in the ADN about this. And I fully expect that we're going to see more of this. We fully expect we're going to see more opinion pieces from our vaunted leadership, our elected leaders, who are going to go in there and tell us how much, how we just need to spend more. That's all we need to do. We just need to, and you know what? We just need to acknowledge that that's what's going to have to happen, and that the permanent fund is going to have to fundamentally change, and that we're going to, it's all more. And we're going to have to do it one piece at a time. We can't possibly, again, nobody is saying what Ben Carpenter had been saying and what we've been saying on this program for a long time, which is, of course, we are in a crisis and we have to do something about it. Nowhere in this article does it talk about, which this would have been a good opportunity. If you're arguing that you need a new tax, one of the best things that you could have said is, hey, we're facing this $1 billion deficit. Not a mention of it. Not a single mention of the fact that we're upside down in those kind of things. But hey, again, if this really was triage, somebody would be pointing out, hey, the femoral artery there, you're bleeding. You might want to put a tourniquet on that. Not a Hello Kitty Band-Aid. Just saying. Just saying. You might want to look into that. All right. We got more coming up. Don't go anywhere. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. New year, new me. It's the same old me, but I feel kind of new. All right, we're going to be back right after this.
Listened to by more staffers in Juneau than any other show, because their bosses told them to. And after what they just heard, oh man, they're going to be pissed.
You're a bad, bad man.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay. Okay. Oh man. All right. Let's go back here. See what you guys have had to say. It was CTE. That was what the that wasn't STEM. Anthony was trying to help me there when I was searching for my words. CTE. Career and technical education. Yeah. I'm going here. This should be this week should be balmy in Fairbanks. Last cold snap like this was 46 years ago. Well, they had that snap in 89. I know that. It's crazy. Let's see, we're cold in a baklava. I see now why the state and borough has been pushing for government-funded daycare. Didn't realize how much federal funding was involved. Yeah, if you've been watching this thing in Minnesota, you're seeing how many dollars are involved. It's crazy. Happy New Year, Sybil. Happy New Year. Thank you. I didn't blame the schools, Harold, but you do you, babe. Let's see. Fish and game only has dedicated. Yeah, this is an op-ed from the ADN, Willie. That's an op-ed in the ADN from this week. Got a nick on the femoral artery, but they're going to fix that hangnail. Exactly. Yeah, the school superintendent was there to edit the editorial. Exactly. Just giving it away his things. Good morning. All right. We're all stuck on Gilligan's Isle. Good morning. The education budget is the femoral artery of the state of Alaska budget. Seems like a good place to start. Yeah. I mean, I remember that for sure. Happy 2026, says Melissa. She almost forgot this show existed. Wow. Ow. Okay. I mean, fine, Melissa. Fine. You don't blame the schools while you blame the schools. Got it. What was I blaming the school? Anyway, I can't. Just can't. Not going to start off the, not going to start off the year with that. Willie says Tim Walz just dropped out of the Minnesota's governor's race. Was he up for re-election? Did I miss that? Nice. Welcome to Medical Analogy Monday. Yeah, I was looking for an analogy, and it this is what happens when you come around to it, and you've been off for a while, and you're trying to come up with a great medical analogy. That's where it all swings out. All right. Where are we at? We're at a minute here. I'm not sure. These monitors are not sure if I'm liking them yet or not. I mean, they give me a little bit more freedom of movement, but I don't know. The internet bill, Senate Bill 113, which was it's the tax on internet companies is what it is. It's the unicorn tax, right? That Wilikowski was talking about, how this is like the unicorn tax. Nobody has to pay it. Nobody gets hurt. You don't have to pay it. I mean, you buy stuff from those companies and they're just going to pay the tax. Oh, I forgot. Thank you. There you go. See, I forgot to turn on the chat. All right. Well, there we go. Let's get to it, my friends. I don't know where we're going to go next, but it'll be exciting. We'll find out together. Let's do it.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
Okay, fine. So, where are we going? Where are we going from here? Well, it's still politics, man. It's still politics. We know we're getting ready for the new legislative session. That's coming out. And we know that the finagling and that the posturing and positioning is still going to happen. I saw an interesting piece from the Alaska Story over there, Suzanne Downing, where I had to chuckle because, again, it seems a little bit, just a little bit. This is me just kind of taking it seems a little bit like posturing. The way they put this story out, and I'm saying it only because, let me just say the story reads: group of Alaska lawmakers rally behind shared GOP platform as legislature convenes January 20. As the second session of the 34th legislature prepares to convene on January 20th, Republican lawmakers in the legislative minority say that they're entering 2026 unified around a clearly defined set of party priorities. Now, I hope that's true. I want it to be true. I want it. But what gets me, and we'll get into some of the priorities here in just a second. But what gets me is then it gets down into the bottom of the article, and it says Republican legislators supporting the priorities include Jamie Allard, Kevin McCabe, Garrett Nelson, Mike Prats, Rebecca Schwanke, Steve St. Clair, and Frank Tomaszewski. Now, that's 7. I mean, I know it's Monday and we've been gone for a while, but I can count. That's 7. 7 legislators out of 19 in the minority. So Republican lawmakers backing the platform say the unified agenda will guide their approach as the legislature grapples with Alaska's ongoing budget challenges, rising energy costs, debates over education policy, and questions surrounding election integrity. They're inviting other Republicans to join them. This is what kills me about this, because it makes it seem like that, they're all behind this unified approach. Right? That the legislative minority said that they're unified around a clearly defined set of party priorities. But the way it's written makes it sound, and I'm not trying to criticize Suzanne. She does a lot of good work, but I'm just saying what essentially the story, the headline should read: minority of the minority pitches a unified platform to the rest of the minority. because the way they have it written is that they're all rallying behind a shared GOP platform as the legislature convenes. Because as I was reading this and I started reading this and I'm like, really? Some of these people believe, oh man, that's great. That's all. And then I got to the end and I'm like, well, wait a second. This is less than half of the minority. So these priorities were formally adopted by the Alaska Republican Party State Central Committee during its December 6th meeting. Party leaders described the platform as an effort to provide transparency and focus for Republican legislators as they draft, support, evaluate, and write legislation in the coming year. And they said that the agenda reflects core policy positions that addresses Alaska's fiscal stability, energy development, education options, and election systems. So they didn't get too far into the details, but here's what some of it comes out. Among the key planks is a commitment to a sustainable state budget without the imposition of new taxes that would increase costs for working families. Which, again, there's already taxes. They've already taken the permanent fund, and they're going to continue to take the permanent fund. So I don't, I'm curious as to how they're going to address that. They also emphasize private sector job growth, calling for responsible development of Alaska's natural resources. There it is. That's their solution. I mean, and I'm not trying to beat up on these guys too much, but not that we should live within our means and that we should shrink the size and scope of government, but that what we really need to do is expand our resource development and get natural resources so we can get more money in here so we can pay for all the things that we are already paying for. And of course, an effort to reduce the cost of electricity and natural gas statewide, because that's going to be government. That's going to be government's job. We already know that's what's happening with it. It's what they've been talking about with the Cook Inlet and the royalty thing and everything. It's going to be government's job to take care of all that. Election policy is another major focus. Republican legislators support a return to a bipartisan primary system and the repeal of ranked choice voting in the general election, an issue expected to remain prominent during the 2026 session. And I agree. I think that's a great thing. Now, whether or not that they're going to have much sway on that, I don't know, because I don't know if you heard, but they got enough ballots, they got enough signatures to get the repeal on the ballot. We're going to talk about that in hour 2 a little bit more. On education, this is the Republican Party platform that everybody's unifying behind. On education, the party platform calls for expanding charter school authorizers, including options that are more homeschool friendly. Lawmakers also oppose reopening a defined benefit pension system, instead supporting continued participation by the teachers in the supplemental benefit system or Social Security. Okay. But this is what really caught my eye. And again, this is what made me go, oh, well, this is great. And then I find out that it's only 7 of the 19 are supporting this so far. Fiscal management of the permanent fund is also highlighted. Okay, I'm excited. Republicans oppose combining the earnings reserve account with the permanent fund principal into a single account and support an annual appropriations process that requires the legislature to live within its means while protecting the permanent fund corpus. I was like, wow, because I've seen so many Republicans who are like, oh, we need to combine the fund. Oh, we've got to do it. It's the answer. It's the answer to what that's what we need to do. And so I was like, you got all these people to jump. And then again, I find out that it's not all these people. There's 7 of them who are supporting this ideal. And the rest of them are just kind of, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming that maybe some others support it, but I want to know more. Sarah Vance isn't on this list. of legislators. I want to know, where does Sarah stand on this? This is the, again, priorities adopted by the Alaska Republican Party, the State Central Committee. These seem like pretty reasonable ideals, although, again, in my opinion, in case you couldn't tell, I don't think that they go far enough. This is why I would make a horrible legislator, because I've got a whole different deal. In addition to the formal party priorities, this is the kicker. Republican members of the minority caucus say they are united in support of paying a full permanent fund dividend as established in statute. Oh my God. Come on. You just know that's never, that's not going to happen, right? I mean, I want it. Don't get me wrong. But and I know, if you are intellectually honest with yourself, that's not, it's $2 billion, right? That's what a full PFD cost is about 2.2, something like that, billion dollars. I mean, I guess I could say I support paying a full PFD, but I mean, again, I don't know how we get here. But that's the thing. You just can't say I support a full PFD and then not have a plan to get there. As an outsider, not a legislator who handles the budget and deals with all these things, I guess I could say all I want. I support fully. But if you are a legislator or in charge of the pocketbook and the personal, you've got to basically, you've got to answer, I support it, and here's how we pay for it. Right? I mean, is that just me? But I was just, again, congrats to all these people for supporting it, but where are the other 12 people in the minority? Where are they at? I just want to know. And Suzanne, I wish you would have written this headline completely differently. Because it makes it sound like they're all on board. And then thank God you listed the 7 at the end. I mean, what's going on with this? All right. Hour 2 is dead ahead. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio. All right, let me go back up here to see what's going on. There we go. Okay. It's good to have you back, says Kim. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you coming in. Let's see. Transfer site. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a bit. The Fairbanks thing. Terry says the House reps that aren't listed are all rhinos, which I disagree with because I know Sarah Vance is not that, but she wasn't listed. So, I still think that any bill passed should need a 2/3 vote, and to repeal any bill, a 1/3 vote. As Timothy said, that would make things interesting. For sure it would, The headline should read, says Brian, a few legislators say some things they are expected to say, but will likely be ignored by the remainder of the Juneau Clown Posse. We'll see. We'll see what happens from there. All right. My phone is beeping here. Wow. Okay, I got it. All right. Kevin says, one thing to keep in mind with the tax versus PFD idea, the PFD by statute has its own funding mechanism. Everything else does not. So if there were taxes, they would not go to pay the PFD, as some politicians are suggesting the taxes would go to fund everything else. Small but relevant point. I've been making that point for a while, that the PFD pays for itself. It's already funded. It's not my problem that the politicians keep taking that funding and spending it on other things. That's what's going on. What? If they go back to a full PFD, then the fund will never be able to sustain anything after 3 years. What are you talking about? If they were funding the full PFD, that has nothing to do with whether the fund would never be able to sustain anything. The fund is self-funding. It's self-sustaining. Now, that would mean that they wouldn't be able to spend all their priorities. But the fund could sustain a full PFD in perpetuity. That's how the formula is written. It just wouldn't be able to fund all that other spending. That's what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. Chris says you don't need a plan. Funding the PFD is described in statute. How to fund everything other than the PFD is what requires a plan. Yeah. Let's see. Cutting DOC is a good start. I'm just going back through here. How do we do that without courts intervening? The courts have said the state is responsible for the health of the prisoners that are incarcerated. They're having an argument about DOC. Okay. Corey says, I think that every time you have a potential elected official on the air, the first two questions should be, do you think we overspend, and how do you plan to stop it? If they talk around those two questions, then they aren't worth the vote. Yeah, that's true. And you're right. I did forget, Harold. The legislature doesn't follow the law. Yeah, that's the point. Full statutory PFD, says Randy, would require slapping a state income tax on hardworking Alaskans. Well, the PFD is already funded, Randy. It's everything else that needs those taxes to pay them. Again, we're already being taxed. We're already being taxed on this. Oh, I should have used the restroom during the top of the hour break. I'm still acclimatizing myself to getting up at the right time and doing all that kind of stuff. This is a bummer. All right. We're going to continue here. Don't go anywhere. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTube-y stuff, and let's get to it. Let's get to it. Here we go.
Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
Sounds just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and a translator. Hello, my friends. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to the program. It is the first broadcast day of the year for 2026. This, the first show. I hope if you're just joining us, welcome to the program. And I hope you enjoyed your holiday break. I hope you enjoyed your vacation. If you got one, I hope you got one. I mean, I do. I got mine and it was amazing. It was fantastic. It was a lot of good stuff, a lot of fun, a lot of great opportunity. And I loved it. I didn't have I was just telling the folks in hour one that, you know, I had these grandiose plans right before I went on vacation, and I'll be honest, I was pretty burned out by the end of the year. This has been a long, hard, fast year. It was fast, but it was tough. It was a tough year. And so I was pretty wiped out by the end of the year. And so, but I had these ideas. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I've got this list of things that I need to do over the vacation break. And I promptly did almost none of it. And you know what? In hindsight, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I mean, we're still rolling. Things are still working. I'm okay with it. We'll take it as it comes. It was a lot of sleeping in and just enjoying in fact, it was funny because for the first 3 or 4 days, I slept between 10 and 11 hours every night for the first 3 or 4 days. After that, I couldn't sleep that long. But for those first, I obviously was working on a little bit of a deficit because, I mean, I never sleep that long. And it was like, woof, man, it was, but it's so good. So good. And then, of course, last night when I laid down to go to sleep, because I knew I had to get up early, of course, then I couldn't go to sleep. You know, that's how it is, right? It's always how it is. Can't go to sleep, can't get rolling. And we're ready to go. All right, but we're going to crack out here into the remainder of the show for today. On tomorrow's program, we're hoping to talk to Brad Keithley in hour one. He may have to bow out. We'll see what's going on. He's got some stuff going on. But we'll fingers crossed that we get a chance to talk to Brad Keithley tomorrow. And then Chris Story as well. And then on Wednesday, we only have one guest set up so far. We're going to be talking with the folks about the farmers market here in Homer and what's going on with that. And that'll be kind of fun. And then we'll work it. I mean, I'm working right now to try and get a slew of legislators on prior to the start of the session, which is in 15 days. The session starts on the 20th. So I'm going to try and get a slew of legislators on between now and then, just to kind of get a feel for where things are going and what the plan is and how things are going to roll and everything else. So that's what we're working on right now. But as of tomorrow, it's going to be it's going to be Brad Keithley and Chris Story. That's the plan right now. Anyway. Meanwhile, we're going to continue on our discussion about where things are going in the legislature, where things are happening, and how things are starting to get a little, the political intrigue is happening, I guess is what I want to say. The political intrigue. Nick Begich has been pretty popular right now around the state. I know that if you've been on YouTube or anything else, you're seeing a lot of ads that are saying, mostly for Sullivan. Dan Sullivan is taking a beating in the internet space right now. But Nick Begich gets thrown under the bus occasionally there as well. But other than that, it seems like Nick is doing pretty well. And in fact, the Cook Political Report, which is a report that kind of addresses and analyzes races from around the country. Its latest outlook, according to Suzanne Downing, for the midterm election shows a fiercely competitive national battlefield. But Alaska is not on that list. All 435 seats will be up on the ballot in 2026. According to the Cook Report, 66 of those races are considered even marginally competitive, and there are just 17 out of 435s that are true toss-ups. But again, Nick Begich's seat does not appear on that list. Matt Schultz, who is the Democrat who's challenged Nick Begich. I mean, challenged, is it really? He's got no name recognition, and he has no funding going on, no funding base going on right now. And the fact that he's also pretty left is going to be a swing against him in his favor. Mary Peltola, who was that she was the sweetheart, right? I mean, she was the one that was painted herself as the kind of the more moderate and everything else, being defeated by Begich. She's not declared a rematch, and in fact has been publicly speculating and really kind of turned some heads as to people trying to decide what does she want to run for. She's mentioned the governor's race. She's also mentioned the U.S. Senate race with Dan Sullivan. So who does she take on? Now, if I had to put money on it right now, I would say that she probably is, if she was going to jump into any of these races, I would say that she probably would jump into the Sullivan race. Because again, why are they doing all this bashing on Sullivan right now? I mean, we're months out, but they have been consistently beating the hell out of Dan Sullivan for the last 60 days, 90 days. It's been a while. So I would have to argue that if I was going to put money on anything, I would say that she probably would jump in on the Senate race. Now, again, she could jump in on any of these, but I found it interesting that they're not even showing Nick Begich's race as being competitive. Like, it's his to lose, essentially. Now, obviously, things could change. I mean, we're January, right? And the deadline is July 1st? June 1st. June 1st is the deadline for filing. So we're 6 months away. So, I mean, anything could happen in 6 months. But as of right now, it's just not. So there's a lot of things going on in the background. Now, what's going on with Mary Peltola? I don't know. I mean, is she just trying to court the different factions? I know she was working for a think tank and making a bunch of money there. And I know it seems like that a lot of the Democrats are kind of waiting for her to get off the horse and figure out which run she's going to run in. Right? You got Tom Begich, who's running for governor as a Democrat, but he has raised almost no money. Then you had Matt Clayman, who threw his hat into the ring for governor, but he is not even going to leave the legislature to to campaign. So how serious is he in that regard? And then you got Click Bishop as the Republican, right? I mean, what's really going on? I don't know. It seems to me like Mary Peltola is either playing coy, or maybe there is some kind of fifth dimensional chess here that I'm just not aware of that's going on. But again, I found it interesting that Nick Begich they're listing the race now as not competitive, which is good. And then we come to the Alaska legislature. Jeff Lanfield over at the Landmine puts a pretty good piece out talking about why Bryce Edgmond hasn't announced whether or not he's going to be trying to take Lyman Hoffman's seat. Lyman Hoffman, who announced back in June or July that he was not going to be running for re-election, ending the longest running. Lyman Hoffman has been in the legislature since I was a teenager. Barely a teenager. 40 plus years. Anyway, 3 days after Hoffman made that announcement, Bryce Edgmond filed a letter of intent, but left the office section blank, meaning he intended to run for office, but didn't say what office he was running for. That decision has to be made by June the 1st. And a lot of people have assumed that he's going to run for Hoffman's seat, but there are some complications on that. There are some complications, because what happened when Gary Stevens he announced his retirement? What happened? The next day, Louise Stutz immediately announced that she was going to run for his open seat. So this is a whole different kettle of fish, right? Why is he putting it off? Well, he's got it pretty good right now. He's in the House and he's guaranteed re-election, right? And if he stays in the House, he'll probably be Speaker again, or at least somewhere a high muckety muck in the majority somewhere, right? If he runs for Senate, he could win and probably would win, but it would also mean that he would actually have to work for it, because the Senate district is double the size of the House district, and he'd have to go out there and he'd have to campaign in Bethel and every place else, which the last time he ran in Bethel was 10, 12 years ago, and that's when he actually ran against Hoffman and lost. And then if he did go to the Senate he would be brand spanking new, and he'd have to duke it out with people like Bert Stedman for any kind of control or influence. Lanfield's got it right here. Then he dropped another bomb that I wasn't even aware of. The second thing, the bottom line here is that Callista, which the corporation, Callista Native Corporation, they can exert considerable money and influence in the Bethel region. If Edgmond runs for Senate, it's conceivable that Callista could back a candidate to challenge him, and that could mean that Edgmond would be in a race that would be much more competitive than what he's used to. Callista is a big supporter of the Donlin mine and aren't happy about the anti-mining bill that Edgmond introduced at the end of the session. So this is it. This is the political machinations behind the scenes that we're not seeing, we're not thinking about, but you could see how there's a lot of games being played behind the scenes, whether it's Peltola, whether it's Edgmond, whether it's, these people that are, kind of trying again to play that fifth dimensional chess. This is going to be a very interesting political year. I'll say that for nothing. A very interesting political year. And we're looking forward to seeing where that goes from here. All right, we got more coming up. The Michael Dukes Show. Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about Fairbanks. What is going on in Fairbanks? I got questions. We'll be back. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. The Michael Duke Show.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes on Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay, my friends, I'll be right back. Okay. All right, we're back. Threw my headphones on. It's so weird trying to get used to things, and I got this brand, like I said, I got this brand new deal, and this is just not sure. Just not sure if I like these new studio monitors or not. And they take a hot minute to put in. It's not like you can just take them on and off. All right. I'm going back up here to see what you guys have been talking about. Sorry, I got to get my biology squared away. Terry says, wow, 10 to 12 hours? I can't imagine. Well, I mean, yeah, normally I couldn't either. Obviously, something was going on. Frank says, I don't know how to sleep in. Here's how you do it. You turn the clock off and you go to bed and you just turn the clock off, turn all of the things, just turn everything off. And you'll sleep as long as you need to sleep. That's where I'm at. All right. Fred Meyer's in Juneau is closed due to roof collapse. Wow. Fat Ray said, I set out to do nothing over the Christmas break. My wife made me do something. I was devastated. I hear you. Gotta go.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
Okay. Welcome back. The Michael Dukes Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We are continuing here in hour two. I wanted to talk a little bit here about the Fairbanks situation, because I was watching this the other day and I was like, wow, I don't remember any of this. First, it was just too cold in Fairbanks to plow the roads. This is what we heard, right? We heard this the other day. The temperatures were 40 below, and you just couldn't plow the roads anymore. And I thought, I've never heard that. And I was thinking, did DOT shut down? Did the state DOT shut down? Or was it just the city, right? It was just the city. But I don't ever recall there being a thing. And now Fairbanks's new mayor, Mindy O'Neill, suspended the residential garbage collection, which is run by the city, right? I mean, there are some independent companies out there, but the city has the core downtown. I mean, that's what they do. And she said she went on Facebook and she told people, that what they needed to do is that they need to take their garbage directly to the landfill. Now, I guess that's great if you got a pickup truck and you got the time and everything else, but you're paying for the garbage collection, right? That's part of the deal in the city of Fairbanks. And I don't ever recall a time where they suspended the garbage collection because of the temperature. Now, she said it's because of the temperature concerns about the crews and the cold weather may be dangerous for the folks there, and that the trucks, hard on the trucks and everything. But again, it's the first time we've ever really seen this. And then on top of that, that's a city problem. I've gotten several different messages over the last couple days about the transfer sites themselves. I got a picture of the transfer site in North Pole that somebody texted me this morning, and it looks like Escape from New York, right? I mean, just piles of. It looks like the transfer site looks like the scene from the trash compactor in Star Wars. Right? I mean, there's just bad. You cannot see the dumpsters. There's so much trash pile there. You literally can't see the dumpsters. They piled it up and piled it up and piled it up. It looks like an enormous pile of trash bags against a huge long fence. So, and that's just the North Pole one. I understand that there were several other ones that looked similar to that. So my question becomes, what about basic services, yo? What about, plowing the roads and, the taking out the trash. I mean, those are like basic services that you guys are paying for I mean, I'm paying for it. I'm still a property owner. We're paying for as property owners. And all of a sudden, never been a problem in the past, never been a problem before, where they just shut it down. Interestingly enough, Suzanne Downing, who writes about this, says sanitation workers will continue to be paid during the suspension. When collection resumes, which is expected to be a week from now, crews are anticipated to work extended shifts to catch up, triggering overtime pay under union contracts. So they get the week off with pay, and then when they come back, they're going to get to work overtime, a time and a half or whatever, to get the thing. I mean, and then of course you got all the people are going to be dealing with trash all over the place. I mean, when did we become so? I mean, I'm soft. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I joke about it all the time, but I don't want to deal with Fairbanks this cold anymore. That's one of the reasons why I left. That was one of the major reasons, was the climatic reasons. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But if you live there and you've been doing it and you're expecting it, then all of a sudden, what happened? What happened to Fairbanks? What happened to the Fairbanks North Star Borough? Are they just not going out to the dump sites and dumping the trash? I mean, and it wasn't like that was the transfer sites. I mean, you go out with a truck and you fork the dumpster into your truck and you move on. Why did they let it get to this point to where you can't even see now you're going to have to put people out there to actually physically move this and fill the dump? What's going on? I don't know. I mean, we used to be all about the hardworking, Alaskan, we can do it spirit. And it seems like more and more what we're hearing now is, sorry, it's, unless this is California style weather, we can't plow the roads or take the trash out. Just can't do it. Sorry. I mean, that just seems a little odd to me. Seems a little weird. And I wonder how people are feeling who live in the Fairbanks area who voted for, I mean, she's a brand new mayor. All these things have happened since she's taken office. I'm wondering, how are people feeling about it now that they voted for her and everything else? And now they have to haul their own trash. I mean, if you don't have a truck or something, what are you going to do? Put it in the back seat of your sedan and take it down there? The trunk, and it's a lot of trash, right? If you don't get trash pickup for a week or two, all of a sudden there's a lot. She put out a social media post. Mindy O'Neill, the mayor, put out a social media post that you need, if you need to have your trash taken out and we haven't been able to make it to your house yet, the landfill is open for city residents. So take it yourself. Stay warm and stay safe out there. Take care of each other, but do it yourself. So too cold for our employees and you're paying for it, but do it yourself. I just don't know. I mean, I just gotta, what do the people in Fairbanks think about that? Maybe they voted for. What do they think about that now? I got questions. I got big questions about what's going on. When did they become so when did they become so sissified? And then down here on the peninsula, now they are talking about there's brand new taxes being proposed down here on the peninsula. The Soldotna City Council is introducing two new ordinances. They have introduced them, rather. They would change how short-term rental units are permitted and taxed. And now they're going to amend the city tax code to provide rental owners with more consistent tax exemptions and everything else. And then they've also set the second one for a 4% sales tax, I think is what it is, 4% on even owner-occupied rentals. So if you've got a mother-in-law's apartment or a duplex or something like, I don't know. It just seems like every time you turn around, they're trying to squeeze just a little bit more money out and clamp down a little bit more on what you can do with your own property. Oh, by the way, on top of all the property taxes and everything else that you got going on. The second ordinance would require all short-term rental units to obtain an administrative permit and meet the city's operational requirements. Now, I don't know exactly what those operational requirements would be, but basically you couldn't do an Airbnb without getting the permit and meeting the city's standards, which I'm sure will probably cost you money and again, begging the government's permission to do something with your property while paying for the privilege of basically having all that. The next meeting on this is going to be on the 15th of this month or 14th of this month. Insel.net. This is just Insel.net. This is not the whole peninsula, but again, I just look at these little cities and they're just like everything that they can do to try and control everybody around them. Why would you want to live inside, at this point, any city limits? I live out in the hinterlands. Why would you want to live inside of any city limits when they're basically going to say you can't do anything without our permission and to meet our expectations or requirements? That's just crazy, man. This is crazy. Crazy. All right. We're coming up on the break. What else we got here? Well, we've got the latest two new Republicans in the Matsu and the end of an era. The end of an era. That's all coming up here on the Michael Duke. No, not the end of the show. The end of an era. And good news, by the way. Some good news on the ballots for 2026. That's all coming down. All right, we're going to go. Don't go anywhere. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Back with more right after this.
We're broadcasting live through a series of tubes,
allowing all of these entities to provide streaming stuff going on the internet.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. Sorry. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Trying to figure out why this doesn't sound right, doesn't feel right. What's going on? All right, we're going to get caught up here in the chat room here in just a second. Let me take care of this. Okay. Well, let's go over here. See what you guys have been talking about here on the old radio program. Okay. Barbara says, I texted you pictures of the borough transfer site in North Pole. It isn't just Mindy, it's the borough. Also staffing, airline delays, big lines just to get into the airport. 50 below has been brutal. Yeah, no. I'm not sure what you're referring to here in Fairbanks, but I think I can answer accurately in ignorance. We elected a bunch of socialist dictators and we're just starting to pay the price. That could be the problem, says Layla. I mean, right? I mean, that's kind of what we've been looking at and what we've been talking about is, I mean, what? Why? I've just, at least it warmed up in Fairbanks, says Chris. It's only 30 below. Yeah. Let's see. Also, Fred Meyer's East closed from fire. Really? I have no clock in my bedroom, says Frank. Growing up on a dairy farm, 10 years in the Army and 35 years of self-employment, just can't sleep past 5:30 a.m. Okay. I feel bad for you, man. I mean, I guess it is what it is. Like I said, I live most of the year on 6 hours of sleep and then get to the end of the year, and that's when I just do it. Kevin says, so take it to the landfill on the roads that aren't plowed. Got it. Right. We're not going to plow you out, and now you can't take your trash, but take your trash to the dump. Okay. All right. Oh man. Kim says he was so sick over the new year with the flu. He said, I slept on the bathroom floor and no, I don't drink. Damn. That's, oh man. Do city garbage collectors still get paid? Yes, they still get paid while they're not hauling garbage, and they're going to extend the hours on the other side. That's what I was saying. They're going to extend the hours on the other side, and they're going to get paid, and then they're going to get paid overtime for the extra hours that they have to work to make up for all that time. Right? Dan says Fairbanks landfill is closed Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's every year. Trash is piled up like this every year. We'll see. We'll see. They're going to need loaders just to clear the trash to get to the dumpster. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm going through the thing. Did you see the lines of people trying to get into the airport? I haven't looked at that yet, Barbara, but yeah. The warm embrace of collectivism. That was Mandami, right? He was like, we're going to get out of the cold space of rugged individualism and into the warm embrace of collectivism. Who won the recipe contest? You know what? That's a good question. That is a fantastic question. Let me find out. Who won the recipe contest? I don't know. I totally forgot, quite honestly, over the holidays, and here we are. All right, let me look. Let me look to see who. Okay, first of all, I got to look at all posts, all comments. How much time we got? 50 seconds here. Okay, give me a second here. I'm looking through it. Okay. Okay, my comments, Terry's comments, none of those can win. 2. Layla got 1. Josh got 5. Amy got 5. 4, 4, 4, 2, 2, 1, 2. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? According to this, it's a tie. It's a tie between Amy and Josh. Amy and Josh both got 5 votes. And so we're gonna have to see here. We just might do this the easy way.
The Michael Duke Show, proudly splitting the left versus right dichotomy. Yeah, I had to look that word up too. I don't think it means what he thinks it means. Here he is, though. That guy, Michael Dukes, the one with the show.
Okay. You guys ready? Somebody just reminded me. I totally forgot because I'm now no longer in the holiday spirit. I forgot that the holiday recipe contest, that in my lackadaisicalness on the 19th of December or whatever it was, the last day of the show, I forgot to announce a winner on the recipe contest. Oops. Sorry. So somebody just said, who won? Well, you know what? We let it run the entire time. We let it run all the way over Christmas. We didn't get nearly the participation that I'd hoped for, but that's okay. The good thing is that this post will remain up on Facebook in perpetuity, I guess. But you can always go back and you can always take a look at the different recipes and go pick one out for yourself. And it was a tie. It was a tie between Josh, who put out a pretzel Rolo treat, which just sounds, actually, I don't know. I don't have to tell you how it sounds because my daughter makes these already, and they are amazing. Salty, sweet snack, delicious. And then of all the recipes, a green bean casserole from Amy. They both got the same amount of votes. So you know what? I'm gonna give them both a 6 o'clock club mug. I'll give them both a 6 o'clock club mug. How about that? We'll do that. So I'll reach out to them later today and get their addresses and congratulate Amy and Josh for both winning the holiday recipe contest. And again, there's some good ones in here. There's some really good ones in here. So go out there and check it out. But congratulations to Amy and Josh for both winning the holiday recipe contest, because that's just how we roll around here. We wanted to get them both on there. So congratulations to both of you for all that. Okay. Let's let me go back over here. Where was I? I was going to talk about. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. So there are a couple new legislators for the state house, for the Matsu. 2 new state house folks, representatives. And I mean, you know, I'll say I'm a little disappointed because the 2 people that I knew that had been nominated, neither one got in. Donna Anthony and LD Howard. I thought either one of those would be a great addition to the legislature. Neither one of them was. Now I'm not disappointed. I mean, I guess you could call it disappointment if you want to call it that. But I mean, I'm not mad. 2 new folks are in there. Garrett Nelson is in to represent Sutton, and Steve St. Clair of Wasilla is going to be covering the other end of the district, the 2 districts. These are the seats that were vacated by Kathy Tilton and George Rauscher. So, I mean, so what does this mean? I don't know. I don't know either one of these gentlemen. I will make a note that they were mentioned in that article earlier that I was talking about, the new GOP platform that Suzanne Downing was talking about. Of the 7 legislators, both of them are mentioned District 29, Garrett Nelson, and District 26, Steve St. Clair, are mentioned as supporting the priorities of this unified platform. But I don't know either one of them from Adam. Never met him, and in fact had never heard of them. So, I mean, it's not like it's a bad thing, but I'm going to reserve judgment till we get a chance to talk to him. And I'm hoping that maybe in the next week or so that we'll get a chance to talk to both Garrett Nelson and Steve St. Clair and have a conversation about what they see, what they see, going on in the legislature and what they expect to do in their first session as newly appointed representatives to fill the seats. St. Clair is he's a military veteran. He was the staffer for Kathy Tilton for 7 years. He's the father of 2 retired military police. And he has a track record of trying to reduce the state budget as a staffer for Kathy Tilton. And I think that's good. That seems like that's a pretty decent track record. Nelson, I don't know as much about. He's a 41-year-old husband, father of 9, father of 9. That should tell you a little bit. At least he's got some budgeting practice as a father of 9. I guarantee you he's got some budgeting practice under his belt. He works as a cattleman, union pipe welder, sole proprietor, and salesman. He has worked. Doesn't currently, but has worked at all those things. So this ought to be an interesting time. This will be. We'll see where it goes from here. Again, a little disappointed that Donna Anthony or LD Howard wasn't appointed, but we'll have to see where it goes from here. Again, I don't know them. I'm sure somebody in the chat room is already telling me how they know about these folks, and it's a great. So I'd like to know what's going on. But I was the governor has his plans, I guess, and we just sit back and wait because this is all on the governor at that point. And of course, the end of an era has come about. I don't know if you heard, but the third largest political party, the only major political party founded by, for, and in Alaska, is no more. The Alaska Independence Party, founded by Joe Vogler, publicly announced the demise of themselves at their December 7th meeting in Fairbanks, and they voted to disband the party. The Alaska Independence Party has been dissolved. They dissolved it, citing apathetic membership and ongoing confusion about the party's goals. The AIP statement claimed the party had lost its way in recent years. And I mean, I would argue that in a lot of ways, the AIP has been kind of floundering ever since. I mean, it was in the 90s, right? That was when Wally Hickel, he won as the governor, as a member of the AIP, with Jack Coghill as his lieutenant governor. And then near the end of his term, he bailed and rejoined the Republican Party. So I don't know if it was just convenience or what. And of course, the fact that Joe Vogler, who was the fountainhead of this whole thing, was then killed, and with lots of very suspicious things going on around his death. The fact that he was killed, and that kind of lost a lot of the impetus for the party. Bob Byrd of KSRM fame up in Soldotna, he was the chair of the party for many years and then was ousted by John Wayne Howe in 2024. And I think that kind of signaled the beginning of the end for everything there. Because again, they didn't really have a unified message anymore, and they didn't have a strong figurehead. Bob Byrd did a good job of trying to bring all that together, but it was, it was kind of, it's kind of crazy. Vogler, by the way, had disappeared in 1993, just weeks before he was scheduled to give a speech to the United Nations regarding Alaska's right to independence from federal overreach. And then he was murdered under some seriously suspicious, if you know, we don't know, but we know kind of thing, right? You know what I mean? Under some hanky circumstances. But it's kind of sad. The Alaska Independence Party, I always love to talk with folks from the AIP. I worked a lot with them. I did a lot of things with them. Really, really interesting group of people, very dedicated. And it's kind of sad to lose a choice like that, to lose the choice of, to lose that choice and opportunity. It's kind of sad, but the Alaska Independence Party is no more. The third largest party in the state, right behind the Democratic and Republican parties. I think most people just at this point are probably just going independent, not just Alaska independence, but just independent, undeclared. That's what we're looking at in the state now from now on. And finally, the lieutenant governor, announced on the 31st that the ballot initiative to repeal the ranked choice voting system has been approved. They got 42,837 qualified signatures, exceeding what they needed by almost a quarter. And now the initiative is going to appear as proposed on the November 3rd, 2026 general election ballot. And remember, the ranked choice voting, the last time when they went to overturn it, they only won. We only lost by 728 votes, I think it was. And that was partially because, and I talked to a lot of people afterwards, I thought I was voting for I thought I was voting yes or for against. I mean, dude, seriously, at this point, figure it out before you step into the polling booth, okay? This is the chance. This is the opportunity. This is where we're at right now. But that's going to be on the ballot in November. Lots of hard work. I'm excited about it. Okay, my friends, we got to go. We will see you tomorrow. Be kind, love one another, live well. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We'll see you. Okay. Thank you, my friends. We appreciate you coming on board. Welcome back to the new year. We'll see what it's like here in the we'll see what it's like here in the new year. But excited to get jumping on here and get things rolling. All right, my friends, we will see you guys tomorrow. Again, be kind, love one another, live well. We'll see you later.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.